Let's hear it for your Director, Training and Development, John Isbell.
Now this is what I'm talking about. 10 years it took me, but I'm finally on the main stage at the NFC. Nice, right? Just goes to show you if you bug somebody long enough, you'll get on. Well, listen, what am I going to talk about today? I'm not going to talk about the economy because I don't want you going back up to your room and taking a bath with a toaster. Some of you got a little depressed during the first speech. Has anybody mentioned the word breakthrough yet today? Have you heard it? Well, I thought, since we've heard it all morning, and I guarantee you're going to hear it all week, maybe we should stick with Rand's theme of Webster's dictionary and tell you what it actually means. It's a major achievement or discovery that permits further progress. What a great definition. It's the exact definition of the kind of training, breakthrough training, that we got to have at IHOP. During Julia's opening remarks, she talked about changing the way that we think about our business. I think part of that process starts with thinking about the way we train. I think we've made significant progress on our training over the last 5 years. Would you agree? It's really just about getting applause, honestly. But absolutely, when you compare us to other companies, though, I don't think we've scratched the surface yet. Because I think we have a lot to do. I look at the Cracker Barrels of the world. Cracker Barrel has computer-based training for every single one of its employees, from the newest dishwasher to the multi-unit manager to the executives in the corporate office. And now I hear oftentimes from franchisees, our employees really don't want that. Our employees couldn't do that. You know what? They can. And they're ready for it. I think we need to change the way we train and educate our employees. But not just them. Our assistant managers, our general managers, our multi-unit managers who hardly get any training at all, unfortunately. I think we need to change the way we train ourselves. We do this by not just embracing a new training program, right? It's not just something we got to do. It's got to become a way of life for us, a part of our culture. And it hasn't been a part of our culture yet. I will be the first to admit that. But I think if we make it a part of our culture, a non-negotiable, I think we're going to develop a team of dedicated, motivated employees, the likes of which IHOP, and I dare say our competitors, have never seen. Now, during my 10 years at IHOP, as I mentioned earlier, I have seen a transformation. How many, show of hands, how many of you have been around for at least 10 years in the system? Have we changed much? Yeah, right? I mean, think of the changes in the last 10 years. I've seen us, though, we're starting to transform from a system of individuals who work independently to a team that's poised to break through. Break through to the guest. We're an integrated team. We're starting to walk with a bit of a swagger, aren't we? You know the swagger from being the best. Some of you have it already because I was watching. I was out at a break and I saw some of you. You got that? Yeah. How you doing? Good to see you. Right? You've already got the swagger. Now, I will be the first to admit also back in the old days, we didn't really train that much, right? I mean, we really did. We did it if we had to because we had a new employee. That training usually consisted of handing a server an apron, saying, welcome to the team. Here's Johnny. You're going to follow him today, and then we'll give you a station tomorrow, right? We need to do better. And I think we've already started it because look at us now. We train every one of our employees every 2 months on our limited time offers and our operations initiatives. That's pretty amazing. So the change has already begun. But I think we've got much more to do. One of my favorite quotes in the world from Confucius, as I'm often quoting Confucius, when the pupil is ready, the teacher will appear. And judging by the phone calls I get quite often now saying, hey, John, when's that training program coming out? Hey, John, do you have a video I could use? I'm having a meeting. Hey, John, would you come to my region and talk to my servers? I think the pupil is ready. The IHOP system is ready. And it's up to us, all of us in this room, as the leaders of this organization, to emerge and be the teacher. Perhaps a few years ago, the system was not ready for breakthrough training. I think we needed to walk before we ran. Sometimes we needed to crawl before we walked, before we ran. But I think we'll all agree right now that a new approach to training is urgently needed. The time is now. Is there a person in this room that disagrees with this statement? A well-trained employee outperforms a poorly trained employee. Anybody actually disagree with this? Yeah, it's kind of common sense, right? Yet, believe it or not, I still get calls from franchisees who say, you know what, it's too much of a burden to train my servers and cooks. To get them through this training program, it's too much. And ironically, or maybe not so ironically, it's these same franchisees who complain about high turnover, who complain that they can't get and retain great employees, who complain that they can't get referrals from their own employees for additional employees. That's a red flag. During Rand's speech, he talked about the word indifference. And this, to me, encompasses our entire philosophy in the past about training. See, most of us in this room, we don't dislike training, right? Nobody hates the word training. But where we fall short is we're not creating that atmosphere, that environment that recognizes and embraces the importance of training. And to break through to the guest, to create this learning environment, we got to take time to work with our managers. It doesn't do me any good to have you all believe in training and you not take it back and work with your managers and your assistant managers and your trainers. They've got to develop our new and future leaders. See, we all know what we should be doing, right? We know that we should be modeling behavior that focuses on educating our employees. We should always be on the lookout for what I'll call teachable moments. And a teachable moment is nothing more than any time you can positively use a real-life situation in a restaurant to educate your team. We also know that we should be modeling these teachable moments, finding these moments for our managers, our crew chiefs, our assistants, right away so that they can impact the employees who impact the guests. I'd like to describe for you a real-life example of what I mean by a teachable moment. I was touring in the Dakotas, and Tammy Smith, who's a franchisee up there, she knew I was in the store, but she didn't know I was watching her on this particular moment. I saw her take a server over to the side and explain that there was something that she could have done differently. I have now lost my ear. How are we doing? Can you hear me now?
No, boss. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me? All right, let's try it. Thanks. Give him a hand. We were having trouble with this microphone in the back. I got a big enough ear. Hopefully this thing will stay on. Now, what she did is she took this employee aside, and she didn't just tell her what she did wrong. She explained why it was important that she do it differently. And I know many of you in this room do that all the time because I see it. What I thought was great was Tammy took an extra step. She modeled the behavior for the server so the server could see exactly how it was to be done. And I don't think that microphone is distracting enough. So maybe we do get the handheld back out here. Hello. Anybody? Three microphones. Three of them. How many other speakers go through three microphones in a presentation is what I want to know. That's right. That's what I get for making fun of the fact I'd never been up here for 10 years. Careful what you wish for, John. All right, so listen. Where were we? Tammy Smith, right? She explained the importance. So she said what she did, she said why, and then she modeled the behavior. It was pretty awesome. That's what I call breakthrough training. Tammy understood the importance of being the best trainer on her team. See, she saw the teachable moments, and she followed through. Does this all make an impact? Let's find out. I'd like you to do me a favor. I would like each of you to stand up at your tables right now. Go ahead, come on. Why is he making me do this? I'm so comfortable. There's a point, I promise. All right, what I want you to do right now is I want you to think about the best trainer that ever trained you. No matter what industry, no matter how long ago, the best person who made an impact on your life. Got it? Everybody got somebody? Say yes, John, I'm a lonely man. Thank you. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about how many years ago that trainer impacted your life. If that trainer impacted your life a year or less ago, please have a seat. I'm going to have to talk to my IHOP training team because obviously nobody's impacted anybody's life in the last year. But I'm not bitter. All right. Anybody who had their best training experience 5 years ago or less, please have a seat. That's more like it. I've been here 10 years. I feel good now. 10 years or less, please have a seat. 15 years or less, please have a seat. I would like everybody to look around the room and see how many people are still standing because their trainer impacted their life over 15 years ago. Now, so as not to give anybody's age away, please have a seat, the rest of you, and thank you very much. I figured some of you were rounding anyway, all right? Did you see that? 15 plus years, and I dare say there were some 20, 25, 30-year trainers who had impacted their lives. Now, think about that person and how you felt and how they made an impact on your lives, and I want you to ask this question honestly. How many of you or members of your management team or trainers will be remembered in the lives of your employees 10, 15, 20 years ago? For making that kind of impact, for breaking through to them. If you can't, I think it's time we start thinking about our business and our training differently. You know what the cool thing about our business is? That every single day, each and every one of you has an opportunity to impact people's lives. Service, serving people, taking care of people is a noble endeavor. I'm not just talking about our guests that come into our restaurant, by the way. You see, if we're going to try to build this service culture, then we in this room must serve our employees. A very famous restaurateur once said, "If you aren't a better person for having worked for us, then we have failed." There are many of you in this room who embrace this principle today. Joe Scripture, I know he gets tired of me using him as an example, but I know Joe truly believes that his employees should be better people when they leave his organization than they were when they started. And there are many more like you out there. And I think we can start to help our employees grow and be better people when we develop them. We take the time to show them that we care. And understand this, it's not just about using the new training program, although it will be awesome. That's only one